Hello and welcome to this video. In the last video we saw the various factors that are changing around the world because of which planning a retirement fund rather than becoming a luxury has now become a necessity. In this video we will take an example of a person who is about 30 years of age and who has a monthly income of 30,000 rupees. He plans his retirement at the age of 60, like all of us. So today we will take this example and go through importantly two things. One, considering inflation, age of 60 when he decides to retire, what will be the amount that he needs to maintain his lifestyle as is today, as long as he lives, maybe 10 years or 15 years or 20 years post-retirement. The other thing that we will also look at is, if in case he has to survive without earning for say 20 years, what will be the amount of money that he needs? And towards the end, I will also let you know what are the ways that he can actually start at the age of 30 so that he can have that kind of corpus when he retires at 60. So, I'll request all of you to please watch this video till the end. Okay, so let's take the example of a person by name Rahul. Rahul is 30 years today and he intends to retire at the age of 60. The world's best experts say that a person should spend 50%, maximum of 50% on his needs, 30% about on his wants or desires, and should save 20%. So since Rahul has an income of 30,000 every month, so we'll see that he has a spending ability of about 24,000, 15,000 for needs and 9,000 for wants. And he has to save 6,000 rupees every month, right? So the 24,000 that he spends, he may be spending it on his rent or EMI for the house. He may be spending it on the expenses of the house, some other EMIs that he might have, and for expenses for his children and himself and his family. 30 years later, when he's about to retire, one of the expenses would not be there, which is what he's spending on his children right now. So let us consider that as of now, the amount of money that he spends, that he has to continue spending post-retirement, is 20,000 of the 24,000. All right. So now, we also have this column here, which actually talks about what his salary would be by the time he retires. So if we consider average 10% increase every year, then his salary at the time of retirement, 30 years from today, would be 1,20,000 rupees, right? And he should ideally be in a position to save 24,000 rupees, which is the 20%. But what happens is what we have to understand. Let's now look at what is the amount of money that he will have to spend 30 years from to maintain a lifestyle that he's enjoying today. So, one of the things that gets added every year is inflation. All right. So we all know that because of inflation, the amount of money that used to be spent 30 years ago, probably by our parents, is far, far less than what today we are supposed to spend because of what inflation has done to the value of money, right? So here, first we will calculate what is the value of 20,000 today going to be 30 years hence in 2050 when Rahul plans to retire. Okay, so his expense today is 20,000, right? Of which, if inflation was not a problem, okay, if inflation was not there, then he would end up spending 20,000 even 30 years later. But inflation, okay, so for future requirement of money, the formula is monthly expense times 1 plus inflation rate power n. N is the number of years we are considering. In this case, we are considering 30 years, right, from 2020 to 2050 when he plans to retire. So for the last 3 years, if you look at the average inflation, that's about 5 to 6%. So on the higher side, we'll take it 6% and see how the numbers look. So as soon as I enter 6%, look at the amount of money that he needs 30 years later. Every month, just to maintain the lifestyle that he is living today, Rahul will need 1,14,900 rupees at least. Considering that he has not made any major changes in his lifestyle, right? Which is about 13,80,000 rupees per annum. Okay. So post retirement, if Rahul decides to, or Rahul lives for about 10 years, he'll need about 1.4 crore rupees. If he lives up to 75, then he needs more than 2 crore rupees. And if he ends up living for 20 years in retirement, wherein every month he has to spend this 1,15,000 plus whatever inflation happens, he will need at least a corpus of 2.75 crores. Oh, that's a huge amount of money, right? So if we don't understand these numbers today, which I did not when I was young, nobody taught me this because it is not taught in school, right? We may end up in trouble. So now let us look at the solution. Is it possible for a person like Rahul, who is only earning 30,000 rupees per month now, to start saving or to start planning for his retirement corpus and end up having 2 crores 75 lakh rupees with him 30 years later? We'll see that now. So here you will see that Rahul needs to invest 7,810 rupees per month in any sort of an investment, systematic investment plan every month for the next 30 years, which would give him a return of 12%. If that happens, which normally happens in mutual funds as long as markets are good, he'll be in a position to have the 2.75 crore rupees at the end of 30 years. What actually happens is, see, most of the people are like me, 95 and 100. We get tempted. So when there is a systematic investment plan in mutual funds, what happens is, as soon as there is a corpus that we get and some need arises, we withdraw the money, which greatly impacts the retirement fund. So let's look at the other alternative. The other alternative is that you get into a commitment for a period of 30 years. But in that case, you have life cover and you have got other benefits as well, because of which your return rate reduces from 12% to just 7%. But it is guaranteed. So all sorts of guaranteed investments that we have today, like your EPF, PPF or NPS, or those guaranteed investment plans from insurance companies, they offer you a return of about 7%. So if it is 7% that he gets as return, that means he'll have to invest about 22,500 rupees every month for the next 30 years. But the problem here is his income is just 30,000 and he saves only 6,000. But we can see that, as of now, his savings is 6,000. It can go up to 24,000 as well, or even more than that. It all depends from now to 2050. So what I'm trying to say here is, understanding these things, he has to figure out a way. Okay, he has to work with someone, maybe a financial consultant like us, or somebody close by, who can time and again look into his investment portfolio and figure out what would work for him best, so that at the time of retirement, 30 years from today, 2050, he ends up with a corpus of 2.75 crores. The fact is, most of the Rahuls today, at least I didn't, so most of the Rahuls today don't even know that they need this kind of money then. That's why it is important to understand these. Wasn't that interesting information? Well, if you like the video, do share it with your friends so that they understand that the way of investing, the mathematics that goes in it, is quite different from what we ever thought about. So it will help them. So please share the video with your friends, like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe.